So, throughout the last couple of weeks, there has been a number of skin-related things, and surprisingly, none of them have been bad drama. We have not seen this in a while. But it is true. Riot just dished out a new wave of variety skins, and for the third time, if we don't count that one Twitch skin, which was an outlier, these skins have always been a success. And in fact, this new wave of variety skins might have one of the most perfect skins Riot ever released. Besides this, only a few days ago, TFT also got its new set, which has graphically made some really cool decisions, but also opened the doors to something that League has always been wrestling with, and that is porting over skins from Wild Rift. So today, let's bunch all of these skin-related news together, because if there is something this community likes to talk about over a sword and a shield, it has to be skins. But you know, skins are not the only part of this game. There is also this one thing called gameplay, and that is something today's sponsor can help you with. We are back in the true and tested situation where we've been since the early 2000s. You're playing video games, you believe that everything is going well, but right before you reach success, it always happens to dribble off of your fingertips. This is a well-known scenario, especially for the people playing around the Pacific, though it also tackles players around the globe, which means, of course, we are talking about lag, which today's sponsor can help you with. This video is sponsored by ExitLag. ExitLag has one goal: to make sure you can play video games without a lag from the other side of the world. And I mean that quite literally. By using their AI route optimization, with a single click, ExitLag can find the most reliable path to a game server, so it can avoid any potential packet losses that would lag you out. It also utilizes multi-path connections, meaning that if your connection fails, ExitLag can automatically switch to another working connection in real time. The best part is, not only does ExitLag reduce your overall ping by bringing it down from the quote-unquote normals to lightning speeds, but it also has an entire diagnostic center, which has custom settings for over 2,000 different games, which not only boosts your ping, but also your FPS, which is also something that not only works on PC, but also on mobile. And that is something you can test right now for free. So go to exitlag.com, try your 3 days for free, and once you feel the difference, hop on board for the annual subscription, where, as a new subscriber, you can get up to 72% off for a limited time. The links to all of that will be in the description. So once again, thank you ExitLag for sponsoring this video, and now, back to the main topic. Hello there! We're back. Now listen, I know, it may get confusing when we interrupt the main video, and so here, take these codes. It's a code for Lillia. Take it before someone else does. So let's go through all the news piece by piece, starting with the variety skins. The truth is, this time around we only got 2 variety skins, with the third one being a Victorious skin. I don't think that one really counts. So first of all, we have a skin that once again proved that this champion is getting the best skins. And that is Chicken Jockey. I mean, it would have been funny if it was called Chicken Jorky. Okay, maybe scrap that. Anyway, this is Brick Toy Corki. In other words, Legos. And just like every damn time it is with Corki, it is just a good skin. And that's because Riot can just turn the plane into fun things, such as dogs or spaceships. In fact, they've done that twice. And since this is a variety skin, the whole idea is that this is tailored for that champion. And it just works incredibly well. It is obvious all those special animations with the recoil were made with love. His auto attacks, although it may be hard to see, shoot small Lego bricks. His Q is an egg, and when it drops, it explodes into bricks. And if you listen to the sound, you can actually hear the Legos flying around. It's just like when I was playing Lego Star Wars. But then, his W actually just splatters eggs across the Summoner's Rift. Don't show this to Jax. But then, his E might actually have the most annoying sound I have ever heard in League. And I remember the porcelain skins. Thankfully, that is all saved by his ultimate shooting out chickens, which looks absolutely amazing. So overall, this is a great skin, but I would like to point out that I have no idea why Riot is obsessed with making all the chroma skins desaturated. And so here, I was expecting a bit more playful colors. It is a toy after all. Anyway, next let's have a look at the Victoria skin. This time, the skin goes to Fiora. And it looks kinda like a traditional prestige skin. It's a pretty good one to be honest, but because the Victoria skins don't really have a set theme, it kinda looks just good. And even if you go to the comments, you can see people praising the quality despite this being a free skin. Though I might have a suggestion for Riot. This is purely subjective, so Riot would have to do some research themselves. But I would really appreciate it if the Victoria skins were at least vaguely themed after the year in which we got them. For example, since this year started with a big Noxian cinematic, what if the color scheme and the theme were the same, but Fiora actually got a bit more of a Noxian armor? That could be a cool way to make the season more memorable. Regardless, the skin is really good, and the rank chromas look awesome. But that takes us to the last skin we got here, which might be pure perfection. And that is Bowling League Lillia. I have to be honest, this skin is the entire point of variety skins. I mean, bowling was invented for Lillia. And the stars couldn't have aligned any better for this skin specifically. You see, up until now, Lillia was on a streak of fantasy skins. And so getting a more comedic skin after that broke it all really well. It is a breath of fresh air and at the same time, it just fits her. And that is all mostly carried by the amazing sound design. Though there is just one tiny issue. What is that sound? It sounds like tiny robots whispering to my ear. Like, is that the sound of the bowling machine or something like that? I really have no idea. But that is the sound of her passive, and thankfully all the other sounds are amazing. Her W crushes the pins. And you can even see the planks of the bowling track flying around. E not only has a great sound for the rolling of the ball, but it also has a great sound effect for hitting a strike. Though there should be a rare case where the ability also says nice shot. Next, I like the comical sound that comes out of her ultimate, which also forms a trophy above the enemy. And so all together, this skin is just perfect. There is nothing wrong with it, it totally works, and the price is normal. This couldn't have been more of an anomaly. And so bundling all three of these skins together, which are technically just two skins and a Victoria skin. Once again, it is all just a big W for variety skins. But as I mentioned at the beginning, this is not the only thing we're gonna talk about today, because then TFT marched in with some cool new additions which some League players might want to have in League. You see, when TFT got its first unique models, which were exclusively made as skins for champions that would only appear in TFT, not counting any of the unique models that are not champions and not counting any of the recolors of the official skins, I believe the first unique skins for existing champions we got was in TFT's set 10, which was Remix Rumble. There we got some new models such as the amazing musician Jin. And when this model dropped, Riot mentioned that with enough demand, they would consider porting the skin into League. And unfortunately, League players somehow didn't boycott or rebel or do anything. Anyway, it turns out that in set 15, we are getting more unique skins. Some of which also come from Wild Rift. Meaning that TFT was able to successfully port those skins over. And I mean, hey, League was able to do it too eventually. And thankfully for all of us, all the new models are available on the Model Viewer website. And so today, let's also go through all the new models that popped up. And let's see if some of these are skins that the League audience would be interested in. But before we start, there is a really important thing to mention. You see, currently, the TFT models look like this. I know, it looks off, doesn't it? And that's because to sell the anime look of the new set, TFT went absolutely mad. And they repainted all the textures of all the skins with baked cel shading. For example, here is how the Battle Academia Garen looks like in League. I know, quite the difference. Meaning that as we go through all of these skins, just keep in mind that the textures in League would have to be repainted. And so, let's start with our first unique skin, which actually belongs to Wild Rift, which is Supreme Cells Akali. Meaning that TFT successfully ported over a Wild Rift skin. Now, how was TFT able to do this so well while it took League a year to get Star Guardian Seraphine? It's actually quite simple. You see, while Wild Rift pulled off a lot of smoke and mirrors with the HD models, in reality, the in-game models in Wild Rift are a lot worse than the ones in League PC. And that's simply because Wild Rift runs on a phone. But it still looks better on screen, and that is despite the lower poly count and worse resolution. And that's all because they simply blur the textures a lot to hide details. The problem then is that when you port this into League PC, you have to entirely repaint all the details because the higher definition textures simply don't exist. And well, the cool thing about TFT's newest set is that they could simply skip that. They were repainting all the textures for the anime look anyway. So what they did is that they took the old textures and they gave it the cell shading, which potentially sped up the entire process of porting over the skins. With that said, the skeletons in Wild Rift are slightly different from League PC, which is why TFT had to rebind the Wild Rift animations to the League skeletons, and as a result, some of the animations are wonky. And you can also see this in the next skin, which also comes from Wild Rift, just like the Akali, and that is Crystal Rose Ash. This is a fairly simple skin, which TFT was also able to port over, and I have to say, the eyes are haunting me. Next there is Supreme Cells Darius, which is also taken from Wild Rift, and I have to say, this one looks amazing. But you can also see how the Wild Rift animations are wonky in League PC. And out of all of these, this is the skin that I would really like to see in League. After this, there is also a new Mecha Jarvan. I believe this is an entirely new skin made for TFT, which shares the skin theme with those Lucian and Senna skins, which were not really that popular in League. So now I'm wondering, was Riot working on more skins from that skin line? But they didn't have the time to finish them, so TFT just took them and they put them in TFT? That would be some cool background lore. Next up there is Soul Fighter Kalista, another skin which was taken from Wild Rift, and I have to say, this one totally works. I love the Soul Fighter colors. After which we go back to the Power Ranger theme, because it seems like Karma also got a skin that was built from the ground up. Unless I'm wrong, this one is also unique to TFT, and I can definitely imagine all the robotic VFX in League. The next one that was also taken from Wild Rift is Supreme Cells Cannon. I mean, compared to Cannon's base model, anything looks godly. As a bonus round, I really wanna highlight this recolor for Spirit Guard Udyr. It really looks like a good old dude from anime. After which there is Crystal Rose Vi, another one that was ported over from Wild Rift. And especially since Vi is getting more and more popular after Arcane, I would not be surprised if the mains went crazy over this one. And last but not least, we have Soul Fighter Xin Zhao, which is a skin that was also exclusively made for Wild Rift, despite League also sharing the theme. And I have to say, I can definitely see how the League animations are not fitting here. Smoke and mirrors, remember that. And that was all the unique skins that made it to TFT. Be it entirely new ones or ones that made it here from Wild Rift. And so, who knows? Maybe the TFT team will share some secrets with League, and maybe they will also be able to port them over more effectively. But truth be told, the League team would have to deal with a lot of issues which these models have. But there you have it, another wave of skins passing by League, and another round of skins that became a big success. I mean, especially the Lillia fans should be happy, because they are walking away with something amazing, on top of which they also got a little legend in TFT, on top of which they also got a Spirit Blossom version in TFT, on top of which they also got a really cool cheap emote in TFT, and so you know what, Lillia mains are getting enough.